We are kicking off Women's Month at Kaleidoscope with a local convention rarely questioned. Sri Lanka's trains bearing female names: Manike, Kumari, Devi, Rajini. Back in the 1950s, the railway department realized stories were remembered more than schedules, so they gave trains names. Manike ran the hill country, Kumari the southern coast, Devi the north, and Rajini the royal regions. The first was Rohulu Kumari in 1955. Passenger trains were named after women to feel familiar, elegant, and approachable, embodying what Sri Lankan women represent: grace, rhythm, care, and endurance. Welcome to Kaleidoscope. I'm Savithri, Rodrigo. From the Kaleidoscope studios, Stephanie Siriwardhana, IRONMAN 70.3, and quick news headlines. Colombo turned into a powerhouse of endurance as over 950 athletes from around the world battled bike and run at Ironman 70.3. Niall McCarthy and Linger Shu blazed solo victories in the male and female categories, with the infectious excitement embracing each rider, runner, and team. And it wasn't just the grown-ups. The Iron Kids brought their own energy and spirit, proving the future of endurance sport is already racing ahead. From grit on the streets to glory at the finish line, it was a day of sweat, spirit, triumph, and lots of self-realization thrown in. And yes, Kaleidoscope was right there, capturing every heartbeat of the race. Stay connected with Kaleidoscope on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to catch all our latest stories. It's all love to our amazing partners, SriLanka Live, CDB, and The Daily Morning, for powering along with us.
Cool appetizer. Introducing CDB Self, the digital wallet that makes life easy.
On CDB News in a Blink today, we start off looking at what's been happening over the last week. World markets were in turmoil this week as Middle East tensions pushed oil, gold, and inflation higher. And what's down? Stock markets worldwide. In Sri Lanka, queues formed at fuel stations on fears of shortages, a misconception since the country mainly imports refined petroleum from Singapore, India, and Malaysia, with only small volumes from the UAE and Oman. The real challenge lies with crude oil for the Sapugaskanda refinery, which relies heavily on Middle Eastern suppliers led by the UAE. Foreign remittances amounted to over $8 billion last year. But from January to August in 2025, 212,302 Sri Lankan workers left for jobs abroad, mainly in Kuwait, the UAE, and Qatar. Prolonged hostilities could slow departures or force workers to return, reducing remittances. And driven by Middle East tension, the Colombo Stock Exchange saw its sharpest single-day drop in years, 5.4% on Tuesday. But the all-share price index recovered and erased some of the losses towards the end of the week. Oil jumped as the US-Israeli war in Iran disrupted Middle East supplies, but steadied at $75.50 per barrel after President Trump floated US Navy escorts through the Strait of Hormuz. Gold rebounded to above $5,150 per ounce on safe haven demand. From bullion to burial, the leader of the Jalisco cartel, El Mancho, was buried this Monday in a shiny gold casket. Dozens of dressed-up dogs strut their stuff at the Rio de Janeiro Carnival, protesting animal abuse.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. SriLanka Life.
Sri Lanka's prisons are running at nearly 280% over capacity, with women making up around 6 to 8% of the inmate population, many jailed for poverty-driven petty crimes or drug-related offences. In our Women's Month special, committee member of the Prison Observation Committee and chairperson of the Infinite Grace Foundation, Stephanie Siriwardhana, joins us on Kaleidoscope Dialogues. A global shaper and advocate, Stephanie leads efforts in prison reform, rehabilitation and dignity restoration, championing second chances and systemic change for women behind bars. What are the biggest challenges faced by women inmates?
They really need something to stimulate and change their hearts. There is vocational training, but it's not as developed as the men's section. Also, in terms of space, we need more space, more infrastructure in order to do more things. We are highly overcrowded in the prison. So it's an issue that women face as well as the men, as well as remand prisoners. People literally sleep like sardine cans. So because of that, you're having a petty crime prisoner lying right beside a drug dealer and it could be remand, right? So they're in and out. And once they leave the prison, like that stint in prison escalates your crime level as to what you see as normal. So we have issues where a petty crime, stealing from survival, comes in because of space issues, because we don't have proper infrastructure, or the infrastructure we truly need due to various reasons, due to actual logistics of we don't have the space because we're overcrowded. They will sleep beside a drug dealer. They don't have money to pay bail. Drug dealer says, hey, call your family, tell them to sell this packet of drugs. This lovely lady who came in stealing a bunch of bananas is now leaving as a drug dealer. So it always escalates your crime level. So there are multiple issues, but the thing is they're all interconnected, Savithri. They're all interconnected. And for solutions, we need proper legislative reform because we need to put in proper structures.
So from what you mentioned, most of the crimes these women are in for are poverty-driven and social vulnerability.
There's also a lot of drug related, and what's interesting is the women are more drug dealers and the men are more drug users. It was one of the prisons that we went to visit, and she's apparently like a drug lord queen. And I said, if we rehabilitate you, if we do this, do you want to change your life? She said, yes, many of the women here do. I don't have that luxury.
What do you think can be done to reverse or at least make some change in this poverty-driven cycle of why these women are in prison?
There were a few suggestions we are giving in terms of legislative reform. One is to try and follow the US model. And if you do steal once, you get to get out of jail free. And for that one time, but you have to pay for it with welfare and a fine. If you can't pay your fine, you have to do additional hours of welfare. So there you are kind of preventing overcrowding because you're not having all petty crimes coming in. You give them a chance to immediately understand, okay, no, this is something I cannot repeat. This is also work that has to come from society. And we have to work and see how we can empower these women from slum communities to actually earn an income. Most of the time it's circumstantial. Also, we need to have a full-on campaign, which we're working on with the ICU mental health campaign, whether it's domestic violence. There are some people who end up killing their husbands. It is a societal shift. We need to make sure that we're giving them an opportunity to actually earn a living, to proper counseling, proper therapy. If they're going through terrible situations, mental health is so important. We need to also make sure that they are aware of the different amazing organizations that are already working in spaces where they can go and get help. We need proper drug rehabilitation centers, which is also something we are actually working on in tandem with a small committee that has been put together to see how we can actually create a rehabilitation center where drug addiction is treated like a health issue rather than a criminal issue.
So how are they linked up to real jobs?
It's very difficult. When they come out, they try to get real jobs. People are very afraid to give them real jobs. Most of them don't get real jobs. What we have been looking at in the foundation is to actually start subsidiary companies where we only hire prisoners. No matter how much vocational training you get, if society does not accept you and society shuns you, what chance do you have?
We continue with our Women's Month special next week with Aruni Vaswani, the first Sri Lankan to hold the diploma in wine and spirits, has a level 3 WSET in spirits and is a certified WSET educator. See you there.